Meanwhile, yesterday, Donald Trump met with evangelical leaders to try to solidify support from conservative Christians in this country. Those who were there say that it was overall a positive and productive meeting.
But I was invited to hear him, and I'm glad I did because I think he answered everyone's questions. There are people that had, I think, good concerns. When I say good, concerns, and they were honest concerns. And I think Donald Trump addressed most of those today.
Tony Perkins is the president of the Family Research Council. He was there. He listened to what Donald Trump had to say. Tony, welcome. Good to have you with us this morning.
Good to be with you, Martha.
Ted Cruz was the person that you wanted to be the nominee here.
I came out early and endorsed Ted Cruz, campaigned with Ted Cruz, went across the country for Ted, because I believe that he was the individual best suited to move the nation forward, given what has happened in the last 7.5 years. But he's no longer in the race.
All right, so you listened to Donald Trump yesterday. What was your takeaway?
Well, I think first off, it was a positive event. When we first started talking about this, we thought maybe we'd have 400, maybe 500 people, over 1,000 people. And I'm talking about leaders, evangelical, social conservative leaders came from across the country, which tells me, Martha, that there's great concern over where our nation is today. And after 7.5 years of the pounding that values have taken from this administration, religious freedom under constant assault, there's clearly an understanding that America needs a strong, bold leader. And I think people want to be for Donald Trump. They're not quite there, and so they came to hear him, and I think overall it was a very positive meeting. Yeah,
we heard Charles Krauthammer last night talking about this on Special Report and saying that what Donald Trump proved to the community yesterday was that he would sort of be the guy at the gate, that he understands your issues, and although he might not be as steeped in them as you might like him to be, that he will protect the things that you stand for. Do you believe that?
Well, I believe what Charles said. That is true. That is what he articulated. Two things he articulated yesterday was, look, I will defend your freedom to believe and live according to your beliefs. That resonated with those that were there. Secondly, which I think gives him credibility on this, is that he's been attacked for not towing the line on political correctness. Well, you're talking to the evangelical community that in the popular culture today is out of sync with these new values, and they're being hammered, and so they have found someone that they identify with, maybe not on all the issues, but here's a guy who says it like it is, and he is not bowing down to political correctness. And they, evangelicals, we're not going to bow to the culture either. We live our lives according to the transcendent truth of Scripture.
You know, in terms of getting out the vote, mobilizing, making sure that evangelical Christians come out for him, is that structure in place? Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think a lot of people are going to sit home and say for whatever reason they're not enthusiastic about him and they're not going to go vote?
Very good question, Martha. The structure is in place. The motivation's not there yet, and he has to do extremely well. He's got to do better than Mitt Romney did with evangelicals in 2012. I think he can get there. He's not there yet. The polling makes that very clear. But I think yesterday was a very significant step in beginning a conversation. I'm hoping now that he'll surround himself with some of the evangelical, social conservative leaders that can advise him on specific policies. He really doesn't talk much about the policies. And I think given he doesn't have a track record on public policy, that they want some certainty. And that's going to come through specific policy commitments and initiatives. His running mate, is it someone who has a track record and the trust of conservatives?
Very interesting. Tony Perkins, thank you for coming by. Good to see you, sir. Thanks.